Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Bud, and welcome to Mental Game Mechanics. And today, I want to talk to you about what does it mean to have a mindset. Um, when I first started shooting, back when I was 12 years old, something like that. Um, Initially, for me, it was very much a rigid and uncomfortable process. And I'm sure you can relate to that, whether it's golf or writing copy or sewing or writing a book or whatever it may be, whatever the skill set might be, bowling, whatever. Right? Everything is very much a rigid and just it feels weird. You don't know what you're doing. You're trying to understand it. It's all just totally new. And so for me, it took, and like everybody else with whatever they're doing, it took a lot of practice to figure it out and understand it and start to actually feel that comfort that comes with having a skill set. And so at a certain point, I had built up my skill sets to, it wasn't uncomfortable anymore, and I knew what I was doing a little bit. But at a certain point, it actually became I had to figure out another piece of the game, and that was the mental game. Right? I can't just learn a skill set and now all of a sudden I'm gonna go out and win a tournament. Right? There's a lot more that goes into high performance than just a skill set. Okay, there's the mind is very powerful and it can influence our performance in so many different ways. And so I kind of figured at least that I needed to work on the mindset. I didn't really know what that meant. I just knew that there was a mental part of the game that really would lead me to kind of the next level that I wanted to get to. And so I kind of went on this quest to understand and learn how to really master my mind. And so I really just started studying my mind. I started studying the brain and how it works, and obviously with the intention of figuring out how to win, how to compete at a better and higher level, how to be more consistent, how to hit my targets better. Right? For you, that might mean how to hit the golf ball better, how to design the logos better, how to kick the soccer ball, whatever. Right? It doesn't matter. It's just whatever your skill set is. That's what I was trying to do. I was trying to figure out how to swing the shotgun on a consistent, regular basis and just simply win more often. And what I never really truly understood at the time, back when I was going through this process, was that my mental game wasn't just about shooting. There was, for me, a lot of insecurities and a lot of weaknesses, I guess I could say, that I never really grasped or put my mind around, simply because I was just zoned in on the shooting aspect. I never really applied it in a holistic way in my life, and so there was just a lot of gaps that I needed to work on. And it really truly wasn't just about my shooting performance, and that's the part of the mental game that I never understood, is that there's actually so much more to it than just learning a skill set and then training your mind for that skill set. Everything in high performance, really, your day, if your morning routine is off, or if somebody said something to you that, really upsets you and you have a competition, that could potentially throw you off your game if you're not solid in your mindsets and you're not solid in your foundation of what you've done. And so anyway, in this journey of trying to figure out, number one, how to shoot better and how to accomplish more as a competitor, but also how to really train my mind to do what I want it to do on a consistent, regular basis. I was talking with a shooter buddy of mine. We were just at a tournament, and we were just shooting the bull, and he started talking about his kind of his daily routine and what he would go through and the stuff that he was doing mentally, and just everything, right? And I knew at this point that I was good at getting practice in. I got practice in a lot. My dad and we spent a lot of time and money to get out and be able to practice, which was really good. But the problem is that I wasn't truly mastering my craft because I was only practicing when I was practicing, if that makes sense. I wasn't working on the mental game outside of my practice. Okay, so I'd get to the range and I would shoot and I would train my mental there, train my shooting there. But then as soon as I left the range, it was like done. I'm not doing anything anymore. Or, I was focused on just regular life, hanging out with my friends, school, so on and so forth, right? So when I was shooting, I was there and I was present with shooting. But when I wasn't there, I wasn't thinking about it, right? And so that goes kind of back to what I talked about, where I had gaps in my mindset, in insecurities and things like that I never really truly realized that I had until later on, because of this exact concept that the mindsets that you have are actually cultivated not just inside of the thing that you're doing, but on a daily, regular basis. So I had this conversation with him, and I, it was like, oh wow, okay, that makes sense. That training is a daily practice, and so I learned from that I needed to not just train my mind while I'm shooting, but also train my mind on a regular basis. For example, for shooting, right? We would watch fireworks shows, and I wasn't watching fireworks. What I was watching was clay targets breaking in the air, right? That's what I was visualizing anytime I saw fireworks, right? There's stuff like that you can do to visualize and train your mind and imprint good behaviors in your mind to give you those attitudes and behaviors that lead to having a specific mindset. Robert Sternberg, who's a leading expert in the human intelligence world, he said something very profound. He says that expertise is not some fixed prior ability, but purposeful engagement. It's like I was talking about earlier, that eventually I figured out how to swing a shotgun okay, right? But what really changed the game for me was shifting to that intentional practice on a daily basis outside of just when I was practicing, right? It was that purposeful, intentional, and specifically designed engagement that I was working on that led me to having greater confidence, not just in my shooting, but outside of shooting, right? I didn't realize what I was doing at the time, and looking back, I finally understand it. But a mindset is literally just that. Mindset, setting of the mind. You are literally building and cultivating the thoughts, habits, and attitudes of and behaviors that lead to what your mindsets are. So if you're abundant-minded, right, you have mindsets or attitudes or behaviors that are like unto abundance. And so as we kind of apply this, one of the core things that I've learned is that there's really 4 key aspects inside of mental performance, inside of the mental game, as I call it: motivation, mindset, mechanics, and mastery. And to speak specifically to the mindset, whenever we're doing a task or a series of tasks or projects or whatever that might be, it is the conscious thought, right? The mindset is essentially our conscious thoughts that we're cultivating and building, excuse me, on a regular basis. Okay, so the mind works in kind of three main areas of conscious, subconscious, and self-image. And a mindset starts in that conscious realm, and eventually it can become a subconscious thing that you have, and it's cultivated and built up. But the mindset that we have can, if we're in a series of tasks, can really only focus on one simple thing at a time, right? And so if we're trying to think about all of the things that we need to do, we can really overwhelm ourselves. We want to lead everything to the mechanics side of the brain, which is where our skill sets live. It's the subconscious side. It's where our habits and our attitudes that are automatic are built, right? So if we want to build or have a mindset, we want to first initially cultivate it in our conscious mind on a regular basis. So we focus on that when we need it. And then eventually, over time, that can shift over to the mechanic side of the mind, the subconscious skill set that you've obtained, right? If you start, for example, if you want to be more have more gratitude in your life on a daily basis, a simple way to do that is to start setting up some type of mental trigger. Could be an alarm on your cell phone. Could be when I brush my teeth, I do X, Y, Z. And initially, you have to think about it. It has to be a conscious mindset that you take into your life, and then eventually, over time, that becomes an automatic thing and shifts over to the mechanical side of your brain. The mechanical subconscious skill set that you've obtained. It's now a skill set, and it's automatic. It's an attitude that comes out of you simply because you've cultivated it and intentionally, purposefully engaged in that task or in that mindset. And so, going back to shotgun shooting or anything. Whenever you're trying to consciously do something, you're going to complicate things, right? Because you can't think about all of the different things that you have to do. And so what I would suggest is that you start with a few simple things on a daily basis, right? And setting up specific triggers for that one simple thing. So if you want to be more grateful, set up an alarm, set up a trigger point in your life. Could be brushing your teeth, could be whatever. And as soon as that thing happens, boom, focus on that thing, and you're consciously just focusing on whatever that might be. Could be gratitude, could be expressing love and appreciation for your family, could be checking your emails or optimizing your time so that you're not always checking your emails. There's a number of ways that this can apply, but the mindset is really just a simple it's a setting of the mind that builds your habits, attitudes, thoughts, and behaviors. And I think that if we take conscious thought and intentionally set our mind, we can build and design our life to be whatever we want it to be. But it takes effort, and it takes that conscious, I'm going to focus on this one thing and build it and build it and build it and cultivate it and sticking to it, right? The first part of the mind, which is motivation, right? There's motivation and then there's mindset. Motivation, it's not that people don't have motivation to do things. Everybody has motivation in their life. There's something that's motivating them. It's whether or not they're clear about what's driving them to take action. And so if you figured out what you want in life, get into the mindset realm, design your mindsets, and cultivate them on a daily basis. And if you can do that, you can design and set up your life however you want. And I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Some mindsets are much more difficult than to have or build than others. But if you stick to it, you can accomplish a lot of things. So I'll leave you with that. I think that kind of covers it for today. But I hope that you can take this and shift your mind just a little bit on a daily basis to execute better, to get more done, to accomplish more, simply by taking the conscious mindsets that you have on a daily basis and cultivating those and setting up triggers that automatically get you thinking in that realm. And so if you need any help, if you are in a place where you're trying to figure out maybe what mindsets you want to have or how to optimize certain things, let me know. I would love to work with you and help you out. I really appreciate your time today, and I will talk to you at another time, and I hope you have an incredible day.